Welcome everybody back to What's in the Botch. Today we've got a different guest than normal. Today's guest is a great friend of mine. His name is Will. Will is a wrestling buddy. He just got back from, was it just one show or a couple shows that you had over in the UK?
Just the one.
Nice, nice. Yeah, so I figured since he just got back from the UK, why not have him on the show to make fun of some of our favorite wrestling clip, not of us specifically, but of the man, the myth, the legend that is Mike Awesome. Um, I mean, what is there to really say about Mike Awesome except he was never told no a day in his life.
No, dude, he's like, you're playing the old SmackDown games, and you made, let's say, you're like, oh man, I'm gonna make this guy just super jacked, but then give him every move in the move set.
Yeah,
That's
that's
Mike
pretty
Awesome.
much Mike Awesome. I mean,
Mike Awesome is a 14-year-old in the '90s daydream. That's what that guy is.
pretty much, and I think genuinely the best thing to start off with to let you know who Mike Awesome is as a person is it is deemed as the greatest promo ever. Um, a little context about this promo. Which promotion was this from? Like it was some uh Japanese show or like promotion in Japan, wasn't it?
Yep. I don't know for sure, but I would be willing to bet it's either UWF or FMW.
It's okay, so I see it up here. Yeah, it's a FMW. Let's see. Are you able to see everything on your end? I had
I'm not. I can see I see the buffering gimmick, but that's
okay.
it.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, I had to do some stuff a little bit different than this go around. Typically, I go through Discord to screen share and all that fun stuff. And Messenger is a pain. So let's see how this goes.
I heard the one, I heard the two, and I heard the three tonight. Although my shoulders were off the ground when that three hit, buddy. But I guarantee you one thing, Hayabusa. At the end of this series, when I have you one-on-one, single for single, I'm gonna beat your goddamn brains in. And that's all there is to it. I'm sick of your shit and you're gonna die!
Honestly, honestly, the hardest thing, it's the hardest thing because the intensity of Mike Awesome just being
Bro,
like,
there wasn't a planned syllable in that. This dude was just legitimately, hey, got a promo. He's like, I'm gonna kill him.
I'm gonna
Point blank.
kill him. Like, and then going to like his partner here, like, you just can't account for that.
Yeah.
It's like, what was that? That's pathetic. That sucks. I'm gonna kill you next time. But it's not as intense. It's not as like scary. It's not as because like Mike Awesome is a giant dude.
Oh, I
Like,
think it's because the other guy is being a he's doing a wrestling promo,
yeah,
right? And Mike Awesome believed that. Like Mike Awesome was no, I'm gonna kill him. That's it.
like Mike Awesome, yeah, he's just gonna kill this man. And genuinely, there's so many clips like we could have picked, picked for Mike Awesome, but the best way to just display Mike Awesome is in a compilation of him just actually just throwing people as hard as he can. Um, but before we get into that, so like I ended up saying in the beginning, you just got done over in Europe doing a show. Like, are you able to talk about that for like a second? Because like I'm genuinely curious because you haven't really said much to me outside of this, and I think this was a fun time to kind of learn.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
yeah,
What do you want to know?
yeah.
Just like the
So,
general gist?
yeah, the general gist, like, what was like your biggest takeaway? Because this is your first time wrestling outside of the United States,
Sure.
and what was your biggest takeaway between like British wrestling and American wrestling? I know you personally watch a lot of British wrestling, so it's not really that new to you, at least from a viewer standpoint, but as a performer standpoint, as an athlete standpoint,
Right.
what was your takeaway from it?
Well, I can't speak for the entire scene because I've just worked, on the one show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was surprised how Americanized a lot of it was.
Yeah.
I think the Contract Pro Wrestling is the place I worked for, and it was wonderful, by the way. Um, but it was how they told their stories and how they wanted them presented, very similar to what you find in the United States Indies. Um, in that it's WWE inspired, kind of like not doing exactly what's on TV, but seeing what works and building from there, kind of how we do on American television.
Yeah.
Uh, but stylistically and in the training, like some of their trainees, like 14, 15 years old, and I'm like, oh, there it is, because that's over here you start when you're 18, 19, and you can over there it's treated more as like, hey, this actually is my profession, this is a thing that I do, so you could if a kid wants to be a carpenter when he grows up, you don't keep the hammer and nails away from him until he's
Yeah.
18 or 19, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of that old tradition that's still living over there, which was cool to see. There are some people that are really knowledgeable about Brit Rest stuff, like classic Brit Rest stuff. As
Yeah.
you know, a lot of my style comes from some of that old world of sport, or at least I try to make it come from that. And it was, I'll say this, I didn't get to do a lot of it, but doing some of my tricks I'd picked up from that, a lot of the old timers in the audience immediately like, oh, hey, which felt really good because, that's the stuff they grew up with. And getting to kind of cater to them in that way is not something I can do in the States because, a lot of the people in the South and the places I wrestle here, they grew up on a lot of older Memphis wrestling and or the Von Erichs and the WCCW territories and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I don't necessarily cater to that audience so hard over here. So a lot of people that are into my work are people that watch international wrestling or they're younger, where international wrestling is kind of being pushed as it is these days on younger people. So it was kind of cool that my audience was more expansive as far as that show goes. Because of course,
Yeah.
I could go to the show that's down the road, do the
And
same
not go as
thing.
well.
Exactly. So I've only got this one thing to base off of. I thought one thing that was really cool, and I don't know if this is a British wrestling fan thing or if it's just exclusive to that show.
Mm-hmm.
But well, Zeke, you've been on shows where they have pre-made video packages that they'll
Yeah.
play for the audience, and the audience stays on their phones, sitting on their hands. It just is what it is. I'm a cat's being a little bastard. Hang on. Uh, it just is what it is. It's just it's the company put some effort in, but nobody's really buying it.
Yeah.
Dude, the audience popped for moments in their video packages. They did this like pre-show thing where like they're just playing the house music and showing logos on their pull-down video screen.
Yeah.
Excuse me, of all the different wrestlers, and people would boo the logos of the wrestlers they liked it or didn't like, and then cheer the logos of the wrestlers they liked. And it was just like, man, like you don't see an audience connected to the show in that way over here so much. The bigger shows, yes. If
Yeah.
you go to like a Deadlock show or a Wrestle Prestige or something like that, sure, you'll see that. But those people are just shy of being, stars and stuff like that. This is mom and pop indie, and everybody's into it. So again, I don't know if that's just something that Contract Pro has curated themselves,
Mm-hmm.
or if that is a wrestling fan culture thing. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to be more familiar with that and give you a definitive answer one day. But I don't know. I thought that was really cool, and it's not something I've seen
It
before on the smaller indie level.
it definitely sounds really interesting. How was I know you said like the audience is very responsive in that regard, but like did it seem to be a pretty full house? Was it like
I would
yeah,
say I would say they were every seat I saw was sold,
hmm
and there were a few people because like it's a big venue,
okay.
but they did the right thing and they didn't put like a chair every 6 inches, right? So
Yeah.
they made a few rows around the ring, and there was some like this upper back area that had a couple chairs in it, and I saw some people standing. I don't know the exact number, but if I was a betting man, I would say they probably did north of 150, but south of 200.
That's actually like that's not bad.
Mm-mm.
At least
Dude, I've worked for
for
places that
American,
would pray for that.
yeah, like American standards, like that is phenomenal. You and I have both worked shows, as high as a few hundred or more, um, and then as low as four people to nobody. Uh,
Hmm. Yep.
so like that's awesome to see that that it was doing really well and that you got some sort of response. And you had that reaction of being an outsider. Um, but they respected like, oh, we saw, Billy Robinson do this, or we saw, Regal do this, or insert like old timer here.
Right.
So that's really cool that you got that response. Who was your opponent for the show? Was it
It's
one of their
this fellow.
guys or
Yes, it was this fellow named Archon. He's
okay?
like, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's a really, really, really swell dude. His gimmick is more of he's like a knight. So he's got tights and wrestling gear that kind of
Yeah,
resemble armor. He's got this big cape he comes out with, and a whole sword as a part of his entrance gear, which we got to make some fun shtick out of at the top of the bout.
that's fun.
Oh yeah, we. I think one thing that helped the audience with us is I've been on a big kick of even on a heel mode,
Yeah,
unless if I'm working for children, I'll do pure theater just because the bigger, sillier characters that aren't very real tend to go over with children very well. Uh,
absolutely.
but if I'm doing a regular family audience or adult audience, it's as authentic in my words as I can be. And so as I'm coming out to the ring, I did my own little promo, just yelling at the top of my lungs, which you know me. There wasn't a person in the room that couldn't hear me,
Yeah,
and gave the like, wrestling in the UK has been a dream of mine for the last like 12 years, blah blah blah, super sappy, and then straight up swerved it into like, but now it's a nightmare because I have to be in front of you disgusting hogs and stuff like that. And so like I had a bunch of like, we hate this guy, and I was acting tough for a second. Dude comes out with a sword, and I immediately start playing chicken shit. And I think, well, stuff like that is very traditional American wrestling, especially
yeah.
in Southern style. But it got over very well there, and I think that little bit of golf clap I got from the audience is when I was like, "Hey, I'm also pretty good at the British stuff too."
Yeah, which like it's good to have those reactions of just that, oh, we're gonna react in the way that you want us to react because theater and being a part of the show, but also just that golf clap, like just like, oh, that was like a nice moment.
Hmm.
Which um there's that like similarity between that and like Japanese wrestling. When you said that like you have 14, 15-year-olds training over there that you noticed, or at least with contact pro wrestling,
Contract.
uh, contract, contract pro wrestling, like their trainees being so young. While we were training at the New Japan Dojo like 2 weeks ago, we were told of a story. Whenever um Zane was over at the Japan Dojo, while he was there, kids showed up for a career day.
Oh, that's sick.
Like it's not even like they're not training. Yeah, these are kids that showed up for a day at the New Japan Pro Wrestling Dojo experienced the day because, over there, it's not like, hey, I'm gonna do this on the weekend sort of thing. I'm sure that's like some people have that mentality, but
Right.
just having that as a career path or having that as like an option of being, 15, 16, whatever, going to a place to go, yeah, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And it's wild to see because like I know years here, you'll see young kids or teenagers training to wrestle, and you'll get like that backlash of child abuse or whatever. Unless you're like a second or third generation wrestler, and then nobody cares or bats an eye. But having like a teenager here, yeah, it's just night and day difference because you have to typically wait until you're 17, 18 to even start, training or thinking about training to become a professional wrestler.
Right.
Um, so like I know while you were there, you said you ran into um AJ Kazana.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like how did you manage that?
So I think he. So I know for sure he's doing a UK tour with the NWA right now.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think he knew one of the fellas that I was traveling with on this UK trip, and it was just like a bit of serendipity that like, oh hey, we're all in the same place at the same time. Let's hang out. And so our last little bit of the UK, we went on a bit of a pub crawl, and
Nice.
he accompanied us, or we accompanied him. However you want to put that. I'd probably say probably the latter. You know.
Nice. That's just like it's such a wild experience. Just being a wrestler. We say it all the time that wrestling is such a niche, small community where everyone happens to know everybody.
Right.
Or like, because AJ's not. If you're not a fan of like the independent wrestling or like the NWA, you don't really you don't really know him.
Sure.
He's not like a superstar, but he's still in the
I mean, he
profession, like up
wrestles for a
there.
living.
Yeah,
You know,
and
he's one of the very rare few that aren't
get to do it.
WWE or AEW guys and pays his bills fighting.
No, absolutely. And it's one of those things that's just like everyone happens to run into each other or know each other in some variety.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, like I've been
We're
training
always got
with.
like,
Oh, go ahead.
we always got like 2 degrees of separation. Like if I don't know a guy, I probably know somebody who knows him.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's like I've been training with a woman that wrestles for AEW.
Yeah.
So it's like wild to think about, genuinely.
Hmm.
Um, I know before you went, you were talking about checking out the snake pit. Did you get a chance to actually do that while you were there?
This is an example of Will not failing geography class.
Hmm.
So the Snake Pit in Wigan, which is like just right outside of Manchester,
Yeah.
is on the complete opposite side of the UK of either place that I was. So,
Oh, so you completely messed that one up.
so it would have been possible because my thing is like the tourist stuff was cool. Don't get me
Hmm.
wrong. I would have gladly sacrificed that to spend some time at the pit, but the only time I had free was like very late Friday after they closed or Sunday all day, but they are
Yeah.
closed on Sunday. So that was like I chatted with their social media person about it, and it just it didn't work out the way I wanted to, but it's really just because of how the trip was set up for to be so short and where we were, you know.
Yeah.
But look, yeah, my thing that's kept me from doing this for so long is I really thought going international, particularly on my own, was going to be just so hard and difficult. And you know, Southern Extreme Wrestling helped a lot with getting the hotels
Yep.
and such, but I got my train, I got my flight. You know, is what I'm gonna go back regardless of
Oh yeah,
what
absolutely.
have you. So I've got with a few pals that I think probably around this time next year we're just gonna take a week and just spend it in Manchester and Wigan and get our asses kicked.
No, absolutely. I know in the past with like a lot of independent wrestlers that were going to the UK to wrestle, they would have to have like a visa or like a worker's license
Sure,
to even do something like that. What was the situation with that for you? Like,
dude.
did
I'll
you
plead
have
the
to?
fifth. Is this is public, right?
I mean, the only people that's gonna see this is my classmates, man.
No,
Um,
okay, yeah. So we just lied,
okay, cool.
dude. I didn't make any money, and nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's taxes are getting taken away. What are those long boots for? Halloween, brother. Let me go. Like,
I mean,
you
if
know,
anything, you could always hit him with the. If it wasn't like the Halloween thing, you could have just hit him with a, yeah, I'm a drag queen,
oh,
or
dude,
something
yeah,
like that, dude.
absolutely. No, I think like I'm sure somebody like AJ Kazana has got a visa, right? Because
Oh yeah,
he's working for bigger companies, and I think this is like a 2 month tour he's on.
yeah, I ended up seeing that. Like,
So
it's a
like,
long stretch.
yeah, so I'm pretty certain he's got a visa because I'm sure those folks are also paying him and paying him handsomely.
Oh, absolutely.
Uh, I believe Contract had handled the part of our housing that Southern Extreme didn't. Like they got us our housing in Newcastle, which was really nice. So I know that shit wasn't cheap.
Ooh,
Uh,
nice.
so it's one of those things that, as far as I'm concerned, that's payment. You know, like if I was like I'm gonna be a big deal wrestler, you know, okay, maybe get me a visa and like let's set up a check. But this is a family run show, and it was an opportunity to go in England, so I wasn't getting my butt hairs twisted up over it.
No, like that's completely like fair. I was just kind of curious
Oh,
because
sure, sure, sure. That's a very fair thing to ask.
yeah, I mean, especially for like myself who hopefully soon eventually will actually be able to do the international thing. But
Well,
also
I'll keep you in the loop about our snake pit trip because
I'd be down for that. I'm so
yeah,
happy to
for
die. That's
sure.
okay.
I'm sure their wrestling in this regard works a lot like ours, where you know we go up to a week from snake pit and go, all right, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's going to be local wrestling in Manchester. You just message them and then show up and be like, hey, brother, we're Americans. Can we get some work, daddy? And I'm pretty sure they'll jump on it
Yeah,
because
no.
that's how it is in the states.
Well, so like here's a big thing, right? So that works a lot of places, and like I'm out here in California, and
Yeah.
I've only been to a handful of shows, but each like I get it, it's probably because it's the end of the year, stuff like that, but it's a little bit harder from what I noticed to brother onto the show like, "Hey, I'm a wrestler training at this place," or "Hey, I traveled, over
I
a
mean,
thousand miles to."
I'll say this from somebody who hasn't been in California, but have just I know people that have, and I've heard things. Some of those bigger wrestling states, particularly your Californias, your Illinois, and your Texas
Mhm.
areas, they're very cliquish because there's only so many decent shows and there's 4 times as many wrestlers as there needed to be. So if you're the cool guy that brother's on, well, yeah, but my buddy Steve can't wrestle now,
That's true.
and there's a lot of weird stuff like that. You kind of have to keep showing face and start from the bottom up, unless you're already a star, which hey, none of us are.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it's it's definitely really interesting to kind of see on how that goes. And yeah, I'd definitely be down to do that like Europe trip. I'm perfectly happy to die at the snake pit. Um, because boy, I know it will. Um, let's see if there was something other. Ah, I lost it because like thought I had something like a minute ago, and then it just kind of died. Oh, now I remember. Yeah, so yeah, the big reason why I brought up like the visa question is because I just finished Brian Danielson's book,
Yeah, yeah. I had that same nightmare.
and like I finished that not too long ago, and there's that whole section of he can't lie whatsoever, and he got
Hmm.
deported back
Yeah.
to Japan. Yeah, so I was like,
So, like, I'll say I'm curious because I don't know, like, the whole thing, but I didn't even have to lie.
yeah,
Like, all I, we all came up with a game plan of what we were going to say if questioned, but getting into the UK, the worst part was just the turbulence on the flight there, because there was a storm.
yeah.
Uh, Getting into the country, customs was they scanned my bags again, and I scanned my passport, and that was it. And that was all like one guy standing by the bag scanner thing, and the passport scanner was just like a thing I set my passport on top of. No people were involved. Nobody talked to me.
Oh,
Uh, Got in the country, did my time there. On the way out, the only thing that was a hassle was American TSA, but that's just because Americans are bastards. But like even then, it wasn't like a business or pleasure kind of questioning. It was just like let's get inside your anus and see if you brought any more Fanta with you. Like something like that.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, so like I don't know if that's still a thing going on, or if I just got the pass because I'm a average looking white dude that doesn't seem scary to them this week. I don't know.
yeah. No, like I was just like genuinely like really curious
Yeah.
because it's definitely one of those things. My friends are doing cool things. Um, since like the interview part is out of the way, do you want to get to see back to seeing Mike Awesome just do some awesome things?
I mean, yeah, you got the video pulled up on Messenger here, or do I gotta
Yeah.
need a link?
No, I pulled it up. It's on the screen share.
All right, hold up. I'm gonna send you a screenshot of what I'm looking at
Go for it, man. I don't know, like
because that's
you
what I'm sending you now is what I've been looking at this whole time.
you gotta be kid. Like hopefully it's not because I'm doing this entire. What the heck? Hold on. Hold up, big baby. Let's yeah, because like on my screen, it was showing that it was pulled up. Here, let's do.
All right, I saw your profile picture for a second, and then it's got the loading gimmick again.
What
I just
the
might not be
heck?
able to watch it.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like this is what it shows on mine. I've got one other good old gimmick to
Yeah,
try.
I'm not seeing it, but that's cool, man. Like
I'll do it this way. All right. Do you see my screen?
I don't.
What the heck? Messenger just hates you.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Then I will just send you the good old link so you can just do it that way. Whoa.
All right, all right. Let me know when you're ready, man.
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, at 0 minutes 0 seconds. Three,
Yep.
two, one. Play that.
What's this?
This is all Mike Awesome does. Is
What
Oh,
do you
dude, yeah,
need to know?
just
Power
throwing
glove.
people into people.
Move.
Like,
yeah. Don't beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
unless he decides to just openly jump over the top rope, going like Mach 12.
Bro, who does this, man? Like again, this is a creator wrestler in the best way possible.
Like Mike, he's definitely not a short person by any means.
No, man.
He's jacked to the max, really jacked.
So here's the thing, man. I don't think he's on gear. Or if he, he might have done like a cycle or something back in the day. But usually the kind of guys that are built like him that get on gear, these are the kind of dudes that you see have 3 layers of abs and crazy traps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is a dude that drinks a lot of beer, eats a lot of steak, and lifts a lot of weights.
So
That's the dude that you'll see at a dive bar.
So you're just like, he's just
Oh,
a
hell
brother.
yeah.
He's just a brother.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is.
Oh,
I feel
oh yeah.
so bad. All of his opponents. Like,
The over the top power bomb is always the craziest to me. How Tanaka is still alive after all those he's taken is beautiful. Bro, Tanaka's taken so many of them. You know how like Ozzy Osbourne's body was like scientifically designed to handle heroin?
yeah.
I think Tanaka's body was scientifically designed to take awesome bombs over the top rope.
I think so. Like, that's like, I've been on a Stan Hansen kick lately.
As you should.
And, I mean, like, when are you not supposed to go on a Stan Hansen kick?
Yeah.
But, who was it? Like, Hansen and, Misawa?
Describe the gear.
Yeah,
Green gear?
Remember. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's Misawa.
Yeah, but it's like, I think Misawa was just designed. Like, hold on, real quick.
His face hit the guardrail, bro.
Like, how does I have to go? Like, I'm rewinding for a second. I know, like, you're on a different clip, but like, just going back to that guardrail. Like,
Yeah.
that is gnarly.
Yeah, dude.
Like, he that guardrail is just at the right height to allow this man to not just break and destroy his nose. Like,
These are nuts, man. We need this to come back. All right. Here's the thing. I'm going to say something controversial here. All right.
Go for it.
So wrestling these days, because the feeder school thing happened like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, you got all these people that are, I guess correctly saying, "Oh, we got safety first, brother, and if you can't do it 100 times, then don't do it," and all that silly stuff. And sure, yeah, it keeps guys out of hospitals. You think Mike Awesome gave a shit about any of that?
No,
this dude made a living wrestling, and he was just launching dudes. He didn't care. No regard for himself. No regard for the other dude. We're just out here working. You go back and look at like the indies that came right after Mike Awesome's time. Jack Evans doing 8 backflips off a steel cage onto his own neck, and it's like, man, they don't make them like that anymore.
They really don't. And actually, since you brought up the feeder school thing, what's your thoughts on like the WWE ID? And like for those that
I need time.
You need time?
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because so on one hand, it is a streamlined way, in theory, a streamlined way to get your name in their Rolodex, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, all right, so I did a lot of the Evolve stuff back when WWE was partnered with Evolve.
Yeah.
I did quite a few of those things. And the green light that they supposedly gave to indie wrestlers was just an advertisement. It was a way to get indie wrestlers to give WWE and Evolve a few $100s every month.
Yeah.
So that some washed up guy, or maybe a guy that cared, could, lecture you for a few hours, and then you could go do a quote unquote tryout match, which is where they selected you. But they always told certain dudes, hey, you should show up to this tryout. And wouldn't you know it, no matter what, those are always the guys that got picked.
Yeah.
So it's very hard not to immediately think this is going to be a grift, because I've seen them. On the flip side, you look at how WWE handled their independent initiative in the UK, and you have, the UK indie scene is Well, it's seen better days, man.
No,
Between
absolutely.
because like everybody that WWE took for themselves were no longer on the independents, and that hurt business. And the few names that were left, the speaking out movement happened, and now they're gone, which rightfully so. But so I could see there being two fronts to the whole WWE ID thing, but
Yeah.
there's no real way to know for sure until we see something that happens. Until then, all this is posturing for the feeder schools that their talent own.
No,
Because like you don't
absolutely, and I
see
agree.
Tom Pritchard's school, you don't see the Monster Factory on there. It's like Booker
You've
T, Seth
got
Rollins, Cody Rhodes. It's the schools from their guys, which like of course it would be. So I don't know if it's something to be concerned about or if it's something to be scared of or if it's just not relevant to me at all because I know I'm not going to be one of their guys. I ain't trying to be. So, eh.
no, that's entirely fair, and like that was actually one of the things that we talked about at the dojo, or at least some of us guys.
Yeah.
Um, because one of the guys there is from the Nightmare Factory,
Right.
and he was one of the Nightmare Factory's like top guys, and he was saying a few weeks ago before like the WWE ID thing came out. Real quick, for those that don't know, the WWE ID is WWE is partnering, like Will said, with several wrestling schools, Nightmare Factory, Reality of Wrestling, Knox Pro. I think that's what it's called, Rikishi School in LA, and then
Yep.
like one or two others, Black and Brave. Um, but it's a way to get independent guys or people wanting to learn and or people that have already learned to spend, several $1,000s to go through their school to get a yeah, we'll see sort of situation. And that's kind of what we were getting at anyways with these schools. Because they're owned by people and sometimes operated by people that work in these higher levels, but in reality, it's one guy might make it out of like 3 dozen people.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, so it's like I I think it's kind of like a cash grab, a little bit.
I mean, yeah. I mean, most things like that are. Uh, but you can't. I don't know. I think as long as people don't try and get their ego boosted by it or get their head too wrapped up in it,
Yeah,
I think what'll help us, even if it does go awry from ending up in like the UK scene got so hurt because they were hurt and then they were healing. And then while they were getting it, like the best health they'd been in a minute is when WWE happened.
yeah.
And America's just so big and wrestling's just so big in America that I don't know, man. As long as there's some hillbilly with a ring in his backyard, indie wrestling around here ain't going anywhere.
No, that's
you
true.
know, they-
That's true.
so I don't think that it can ever be that scary. It's just another, oh, I got to roll my eyes at this kid who's going to go, I'm a WWE ID guy and I can't lose tonight, brother. That I could see coming. But,
Yeah,
um,
I have yeah, I could see that coming. I have a feeling that's a major possibility.
yeah.
But yeah, I was just kind of curious on some of that. But uh, back to Mike Awesome killing some people, man, because
Yeah. Man.
nothing heals the soul like a big dude just doing big dude shit, you know.
Oh, dude. I need Mike Awesome to go fix some things in this country, brother.
Oh yeah.
Awesome bomb
Like
the world and all that.
like he
Sit out, awesome!
just these over the top like costumes, man.
They're nutty.
Why like couldn't be me because there's already like so many.
Yeah.
Well, Rhino just died. Uh,
Some more about it! Oh my god!
up Spike Dudley.
Spike Dudley and Mikey Whipwreck are like half of that video, which kind of rocks.
Like Spike Dudley and Mikey Whipwreck did some of the bumps that nobody else would do.
Oh yeah,
Like, I genuinely think Spike Dudley is very underrated
criminally so.
in his like selling because he's such a tiny dude, and he would come up with some of the craziest like bumps or spots.
Yeah,
Like,
and he made all those dudes look like $1 million. It was, I mean, they don't make them like that anymore either.
no, surprisingly, he didn't wind up with more injuries that he had.
I mean, I think that's just because he knew what he was doing. You know, if you know how to do stunts, you know how to protect yourself on falls like that. And being as small as he was, I think really helped. You know, so they didn't have extra size and stress on his skeleton or anything like that. So impact could take to his bones a bit better than, you know, hey, I'm already 300 pounds. My
Yeah,
hip's already stressed. You know, I fall on it and it's going to crack.
but no, absolutely. And like with hold on, I've got to see Tommy get thrown through stuff. Anyway, but like with with what you see, everyone that is gonna watch this video, like Mike Awesome just did some awesome things.
Nah.
It was easy. It was easy to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But now like it's genuinely one of those things that you don't see anymore. Like getting awesome bombed through or like on top of a bus, you just don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
How dare they care about our health these days?
absolutely, especially a dude that weighs 110 pounds, soaking wet, frozen, right?
Yeah.
Like because
I'm gonna need y'all to quit caring about my mental health and let me get domed with a steel chair every week, please.
I
It's for the love
mean,
of the game.
that's you with the trying to take the burning hammer, man. Like
Yeah.
trying to get dropped straight on your head, but your buddy cares about you too much. Like, get that out of here.
Wimp.
But no, like you, like we all kind of see on how this goes, and it's just a constant thing. Um, but yeah, like Mike Awesome is definitely a creative character if I've ever seen one.
Oh
Willing
yeah.
to do absolutely everything because nobody can't tell me not to.
That's right.
I mean, he's dead now, but so people can't tell him not to. But um, with that being said though, like it was a lot of fun having you on and just kind of talking and learning about your UK experience. And I know that's kind of what most of this wound up like turning into. But
No, sorry about that. Man.
no, you're fine. That was on me. Actually, I think it was a good change of pace because the last two episodes was my buddy Steve and I just going through and watching Scott Steiner,
Nice.
like videos and clips, and then we ended up watching some Kane stuff, like Kane just being unhinged and funny, like impersonating The Rock and Hulk Hogan.
Sure.
Um, but before I let you go, man, like, is there anything cool that's coming up? Because I know Vino's is coming up next week,
The 16th. Yeah.
and
So we got
what you got going?
APW. We got APW this week in Mariana.
Yeah.
Then I've got Vino's in Little Rock coming up the next week, and then after that I've got SCW in Mountain Pines. So pretty packed up month. I'm not doing anything on the 30th, but I think I'm giving that one to the lovely Mr. Will over here at home because you know you got to make those free weekends sometimes.
Oh no,
And
absolutely. And
I think that almost the end of the year. Just got like a couple in December, and then I'm done.
yeah, because I know we've got APW in December.
Yeah, and I've got Southern Extreme again in December as well. I think I'm wrestling the Soul Taker again.
Wow, dude, like at SCW?
SEW,
Oh,
yeah.
SEW? Man,
Yeah,
I gotta show up to that one, especially if Soul Taker's coming back.
bro,
Um,
I'm pumped for it. That's what they got me promoing. But I'm only saying that because you just said it's you and your class. So hush hush until they get a flyer.
yeah, pretty much. But no, yeah, this is like is pretty cool. Where can the people find you, Will?
Oh,
What's your YouTube? What's your like social medias?
don't worry about my YouTube. I don't have that curated at all. But I use Instagram probably more than anything. I'm an old man. I don't really use social media that much. But I use Instagram probably the most, which is at that guy William Blackwell all together. If you like my voice and think that's your thing, then yeah, sure.
Just wait
That, or
and
you can find me at William Stephan on Facebook.
just wait until you see the images of them. Like if you
You
like
don't
the
want to, but
voice.
if you do, cool.
But no, it was a lot of fun having you on, man. I can't wait to be back home here in like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So,
You better be going crazy at that dojo. At your
oh,
last 2.5 weeks.
man, I am. Actually,
Good.
we're not having class tomorrow because
Sure.
they're flying out for Strong.
Sure.
So next week we're having three trainings like consecutively. So Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, plus the beginner classes of Monday, Wednesday.
Hmm.
And to quote Fred, next week is going to be Hell Week. So
Good. Give them hell.
I'm gonna try my hardest, man.
No, don't be trying. If you're trying, you're dying. Just do it.
Bet. But yeah, I'll see you in a few weeks. And thanks
Yeah.
everybody for watching this episode.
Huzzah.
As a